Well, hey there, friends. It's Mandy with SweetlyHome, and today I wanted to talk to you about my 2016 goals and my one little word for the year. So I know we're kind of like mid-January, kind of nearing towards the end, but I still feel the goals are super duper important, and it's okay to talk about them any time of the year. I've always been someone who's loved setting goals, but I haven't been someone who's always really followed through with them very well. So I am determined to sort of change that this year and really make those goals happen in my life. Sorry for some of the backgroundness. I am in my office. Had been sort of a storage room in our home and is now, I'm working on making it my office. So anyways, let's kind of just dive right in. So first of all, I want to talk to you about goal setting in general and how I approach it. I've been someone, like I said, who has always loved goals. Even as a junior higher, kind of going into high school, New Year's Eve was really important to me, and I spent that time doing kind of non-traditional things. Like I had my best friend and I would often stay at her house on New Year's, and her mom and some of her friends would get together and they would actually pray in the new year. And so we would kind of participate with that. Of course, we kind of do our own thing and have our own sort of fun, but once it came like down to the wire of it rolling into the new year, we would pray with them. And it was just a really neat way to bring in the new year. And then as I grew older, some of the other things that I used to do are I would actually journal in the new year, I'd kind of say. So what I would do is I would start a brand new journal, and I would start writing probably like, an hour, half hour before the new year actually started. And I would reflect on the year prior and things that happened, things maybe that I wanted to change. And then as the new year kind of came in, that journal entry sort of turned into a prayer, sort of turned into my goals and hopes for that upcoming year. And I recently came across some of those journals, and it was really neat to kind of see where I was at different points in my life. I haven't done that every year, but different years throughout. So yeah, it was just kind of really neat. A couple other times my husband and I have actually gone away on New Year's, and we've gone like a day or two before, and then we take that time and we actually sit down and we make some goals for the new year as well. The goals for our family, and I always take time to actually set goals for my business and also personal goals. So, but it's really nice to actually get away with your significant other and spend that time thinking about what you want to accomplish as a family, as a husband and wife, as a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, like as a unit, and to think about where you want to be in that upcoming year. So when I sat down to write out my goals, one of the things that I thought about was who I am and the different areas of life that I am participating in. So for instance, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a business owner, and I'm a child of God. And all of those areas within my life, I wanted to have different kinds of goals that I could work towards, because every area of life can always use some sort of tweaking or some kind of refinement or a major overhaul. So some of my goals when it comes to my spiritual life was I really wanted to get into the habit of my daily devotions. So I was someone who, I used to participate in this ministry training program called Master's Commission, and it was a discipleship training course for post-high school students, and I participated in that instead of actually going to college, and it was absolutely life-changing, absolutely amazing. But part of our structure of the day is we actually had like 2 hours set aside for prayer time, devotion time, and scripture memory, and it was, amazing. When that is actually built into your day, wow, like it's really awesome. I don't have that luxury anymore as a mom, as all the roles that I have. I don't have that time anymore. But I am committed to spending time with the Lord every single day. And so something that I've started doing is I found some really great apps and some Bible reading plans within the Bible app on my iPad. And another app that I like to use is the First 5 app, and that is from Proverbs 31 Ministries. And basically it's the idea of taking the first 5 minutes of your day and really spending it with the Lord. And there's a really great community surrounding that, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So really like that. And so what I am sort of doing to kind of facilitate this time that I have to myself with the Lord and to not be interrupted by my little kiddos is to make over my mornings. And I'm committing myself to setting myself up for success and waking up before my family and having that quiet time. Now, I will be honest that it's been tough to get into that habit of waking up early, and I haven't been very successful at it, but that is part of my goal and part of what I am doing to radically just kind of transform my life. And it's that whole making over my mornings process, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But so there are things that I'm doing within my life to kind of set my morning up for success. So even though I may not be waking up all that earlier from my kiddos, I am able to get them set up for breakfast quickly, easily, and they can eat their breakfast, and I can take some time in the living room to go through my reading plans, to take some time to just pray and get my heart centered where it needs to be for the day. So I think I'm going to do a whole video about this later on, but I have a spot in my living room that I like to sit, and so every night I make sure that it is kind of all set up and ready to go for me. I have like a cozy pillow, I've got a blanket, I've got a basket with some books and reading material in my Bible, and kind of all the things that I would need to get set up for my quiet time. Now, like I said, I want to make that a lot, really expand that a lot more and to really kind of dive deeper in my walk with the Lord. But for now, as I'm getting those balls into place, these apps and these plans that I'm doing are just absolutely wonderful. So another thing that I'm doing this year with my spiritual walk is my husband and I are getting involved in a small group within our church. So tonight is actually our first meeting that we're going to, and we're both really excited about it. We've got a lot of stuff to kind of do beforehand before we can actually kind of get out the door and go, but his parents have decided that they really want to help make this happen for us, and they're going to come and watch our kids for us so that we can go and make that a habit in our life. So that'll be a weekly thing that we're going to do together. So when it comes to being a mom, here are some of my goals that I have for the new year. The first thing is that I want to implement a family night at least once a month. I know some people can do that like once a week, and it's great, and that works. And I mean, that's where I really would like to be, is to have like a weekly family night. But I'm trying to be really realistic with our schedule and with the things that are on our plate, and to be really realistic with the ages of our kids. They're 5 and 2. So my 2-year-old, the things that he would want to do that would be with a family night may not be so much what my 5-year-old is capable of doing at this point. So at least once a month, I want to do a focused family night. So whether that's like movies and popcorn and treats, or if it's an outing that we do or something like that, I really want to build that into our life as a family. So in my role as a wife, some of the things that I'm hoping to kind of build into my year and to accomplish are to have a once a month date night with my husband. We don't do that like at all. I mean, it's great when we do get to go out, but it's rare and kind of far between that we actually do that. So we have both kind of said that we would really like to take some time once a month to have a date night, and hopefully it will mean that we get to go out. We have a really great support system with his family. They step right in all the time to watch our kiddos for us if we, need to head out. So I'm sure that they will be on board with letting us get out once a month. But if not, I still want to make sure that we do some kind of focused kind of date night where it's just us, phones, iPads, laptops, everything is off. It's just us, and we're doing some sort of fun activity or watching a movie together, something where we can connect as a husband and wife. So as a homemaker, I have several goals that I want to sort of work through this year. The first is meal planning. So when I took a look back at 2015 and I saw the areas of weakness of my life, one of them was my meal planning. And let me tell you, I want to be really good at meal planning, but I stunk at it last year, I'll be honest. So if you're unfamiliar with my story, we actually lived out of our home for about 4.5 years. We lived with my in-laws while we rebuilt our house. And when you are not meal planning, taking care of a house, or doing any of that homemaker stuff, you really fall out of practice of doing it. I mean, 4.5 years going on 5, really. I mean, it was more like almost 5. I just really, all of the systems that I did have in place prior to moving out of our home had fallen by the wayside. And so 2015 was really the year for me to kind of build that back up, find new systems that would work for us. Because when we moved out of the house, I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 5. So, we'd never lived here, and I never had to take care of a family in this house. And I wasn't in charge of meals, and I wasn't in charge of cleaning and, those homemaker roles when we lived at my in-laws. So I'm establishing all of that. And so it's been a process of trying to figure out what works and doesn't work for our family. And one of those things that I haven't gotten into a good system or rhythm yet is meal planning. Ultimately, my ultimate goal, which I don't know if that'll happen this year, this is just kind of like, this is what I want to happen. I would like to be a once a month meal shopper. That is my goal. I would like to just get in the grocery store once, get everything I need, have a couple carts of groceries, and boom, we're done for the whole month. So that's my ultimate goal. I'm really trying to focus on making sure that I can get 2 weeks under my belt before I can add on even another week. But it's in the process of all of that meal planning is going to be a big thing in my life that I'm working on. So you'll probably see some upcoming videos about that. Another thing as a homemaker that I want to do this year is this is going to sound weird, but I want to recycle our wet garbage. So where we live in Canada, you can recycle like all types of garbage. So, your papers, your plastics, your aluminum foil, all kinds of things, but they also recycle wet garbage. So that is like your food scraps and I can't even think of what else, but stuff that would go into a composter. And we have that capability. It's the wet garbage part is not a requirement of where we live, but I want to start doing that and be a better steward of our resources. And eventually I would maybe like to get our own composter so that I can make our own compost, because it's going to segue into my next goal is to put in a garden. I've wanted a garden forever, but like I said, we didn't live here, so I couldn't do that. And last year I really kind of overhauled our eating, and a focus of fruits and vegetables are huge in our diet now. And I don't know if you caught the price of vegetables lately, but they are just absolutely skyrocketing. At least around here, cauliflower is like $7.99, and cauliflower is a huge staple of my diet because I've kind of removed potatoes, and so cauliflower is a really great substitute for that. So yeah, a garden is one thing that I want to do, and we've wanted to do it for a long time, and now I think we're going to be able to do it. So putting in a garden. So another thing as a wife and a mom that I'm trying to do, and I mentioned it earlier, is I'm trying to make over my mornings. And I believe that starting my day early and making intentional focused time to make over my mornings will give me so much more time in my day. I think it's going to allow me to just be a better wife and mom, to be perfectly honest. I'm kind of a zombie in the morning, and I need that time to transition into bright, peppy, happy bummy. And when I'm waking up with my kids, that's not happening. And if I'm waking up after my alarm, that isn't happening either. So I really want to take that time in the morning to like I said, spend time with the Lord. I want to have my coffee, maybe some breakfast, and just have that time to myself. I'm more of a night person, but I really am seeing the value in becoming a morning person. And I know that when I have intentionally and purposefully set forth to make a really strong, good morning for myself, I get so much more accomplished. I'm actually going through a course called Makeover Your Mornings from Crystal Payne, and she is the author and the blog creator of MoneySavingMom.com. I've heard absolutely amazing things about this course. I'm on day 3, and let me tell you, I am already starting to see really good habits forming, and I'm really, really liking it. I can't recommend it enough. I'm excited to see where I am after the 14 days. I'm sort of taking it slowly because I really want to implement the habits into my life and then be able to really live them out rather than just boom, boom, boom going through the course and not making those habits strong. So making over my mornings is going to be a big thing in my life, and I'm really quite excited about it. So as a friend this year, I really want to be a more intentional friend. I am so blessed by some really great friendships, and one really great thing about those friendships is, well, this part isn't that great, but we live in different areas. I'm in Canada. I have a really amazing friend in Colorado, another of one of my amazing friends in Pittsburgh. My sisters, I count them as some of my dearest and best friends. I have friends that are like in my city, and there are people that are my tribe. They are my girls, and they are those ones that, you know, they are your ride or dies, and I have those people in my life, and I want to be more intentional and focused within those friendships, and I want them to know how much they mean to me, and I want to be sending them Happy Meal and connecting with them on a regular basis, because for myself personally, as a mom, I get focused on my own stuff and my own little world, and it can be really tough to look into other people's worlds sometimes, even though they are my best friends. Like, I don't know. Sometimes, you know, I don't know. Yeah. So my hope is to be more intentional and focused in those relationships. So another thing that I want to really focus on this year is self-care. So I have fallen into a mom rut. I'm not afraid to admit it. I really have. My shirt is stained and I need a haircut. I haven't had one since, I don't know, it's going on like 5 or 6 months at least. I've just really fallen off the bandwagon when it comes to self-care. And I used to be the mom that I had my makeup done every day. I had a really cute hairdo. I didn't dress in Frontville. I'm in my sweatpants right now. And I don't want to be that. I have a video coming out later about this very topic, but I don't want to be a frumpy mom. I want to kind of find my mom uniform of something pulled together and cute that's going to make me feel really good, but not be super frump, because I've fallen in super frump life. I've done my hair and my makeup today because I'm going out later, like I mentioned, but it's really easy to get the mom bun going, no makeup, and, you know, live in my sweatpants. And I don't want that at all. I don't want my daughter to fall into that trap and see that this is what mommy does. Like, mommy doesn't take care of herself very well. And, yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm putting myself back on the priority list. So this year, I'm really determined to walk in the purpose that God has put on my life. I believe that one of my spiritual gifts is an encourager, and I want to walk in that, and I want to live that out. And it can be really scary to kind of live in your purpose. It's scary, and there's a lot of vulnerability that comes with that, and sometimes I don't think I'm ready for it, but if I'm really honest with myself, there are a lot of people in the Bible who were not ready for the assignment that God called them to. And think about Moses. Like, he was like, no, Lord, don't send me, send my brother. And I want to rise up and follow in the purpose that God has called me to live. And I've set some time aside to really focus in on what the Lord is calling me to do. And I believe He's really speaking to my heart on a few different areas of my life that He needs me to start living out what He's called me to do. So there is an author, and she's a blogger, and she's the founder of the Make It Happen movement. Her name is Lara Casey, and I'll leave her website down below, but she's created something called the Power Sheets, and Power Sheets are designed to help you figure out what your purpose is and how to make that happen, and to be very intentional and focused on that. So I had purchased her Power Sheets a couple years ago, and I think every year she redoes them a bit, but that year that I got them, I didn't finish them because, like I said, I'm really great at starting goal setting, but I don't always follow through. So I didn't finish my Power Sheets. I was really kind of in a bad place in my life. I was feeling like I had no purpose, like I was lacking big time. And so I saved my Power Sheets and I started in on them this year, and oh my word, I could just, as I was going through them and figuring out and tearing back layers and seeing where my heart was and where I feel like God is calling me, and to write those visions and goals and dreams down, amazeballs, let me just tell you. So I'm excited to be obedient in what the Lord is calling me to do and what He's placing on my heart. And like I said, it's a really vulnerable place to be, and scary, and especially when you're putting your spiritual self out there and hoping that people don't squash you and walk all over you. It's scary. But I feel that in being obedient to what I feel God is placing in my heart, I feel that that's where the blessing comes. And I feel like if I wasn't living and walking in the truth, in my truth, it would be a really crummy year. So that kind of leads me to my word of the year. If you're unfamiliar with the OLW movement, one little word movement, it was started years and years ago by a scrapbooker actually named Ali Edwards. And the idea behind it was that you picked a word for the year, and that was like your theme and your focus. And rather than writing out a list of goals, you focused your life around this one little word. Now, I was really huge into scrapbooking a long time ago. Like, I'm talking like 16, 20 years-ish ago. Like, I'm not that old, but that makes me sound really old. I was really huge into that, and I don't know if I actually got the idea from Ali originally, but I have been doing one little word for a very, very long time, since at least 2000, and it's really awesome to kind of go back and see those one little words. So my one little word for this year is undivided. It's kind of an uncommon word. Like, there's a lot of other words that people pick that are way more common and easier to kind of walk out. But when you're for me anyways, when you're thinking about your one little word, for me, it's an impression on my heart and my spirit that I really feel like the Lord is just focusing me in on to say, this is your word for the year. And it has always been about that. It always has been more of a spiritual thing for me in my life. And so when I came across the word undivided in December, I was like, that's it. Like, that is what I want. The idea behind undivided and what it means to me is that I will be undivided in my pursuits. So when I'm thinking about doing something in this year, or I'm asked to do something, and if it's not lining up with my visions and my purpose and my goals that I've intentionally set forth at the beginning of the year and I'm focusing on, if it is not lining up with those, I don't want it in my life. I want to be undivided in my focus and my pursuits. I want to be undivided as a mom, and what that means to me is I don't want to be that mom that's like on my phone, on my iPad, like checking in on everyone else's life. I want to be living my own, and I want to be pouring into my babies and giving them as much of me as possible. I mean, ladies, like, let's be honest here, our moms did not have social media, and so we never had to contend with moms who were always on their phones or their iPads or their laptops. We didn't have to deal with that. At most, mom was on the phone, and even then, the phone was attached to a cord on the wall. Like, it was not like it is today. And I don't want my babies to have to be sharing their mom with anybody else. Even if those pursuits, like on my phone, those connections that I'm making with people are good things, I want to be undivided with them. I want to be undivided in my spiritual walk. I want to make sure that, boom, when I am waking up, my heart and my mind are focused on the things that God has called me to do. And I don't want to be sifting around and walking through a whole bunch of other stuff to try and get to where I need to go. I have done that. I've done that for years and years and years. I've taken and I've just kind of went willy-nilly with things, and I'm so done with that because it leads me nowhere. And I just want that undividedness in my life. And it goes a bit deeper than just being focused, because my hope is that I'm going to be focused on the things that I'm undivided about. So when I think about focus, I'm thinking about, like, here's the task at hand and I am just zeroed in on it. But undivided to me is more like a sword that just kind of cuts through the things, and this stuff doesn't matter and this stuff doesn't matter, but this stuff does, and that is where I need to be. And so that undivided sword is just cutting things out of my life that do not need to be there, whether it's relationships or lazy habits or, you know, rotten attitudes, whatever it is. I want it to be gone, because I believe that God has a purpose for my life, and he has a purpose for your life too. Like, hello, he has a purpose for you. And I want to be so undivided in that and walking that out this year. I know that God has called me to something great and he's called you to something great. And I just want to rise up and live in that in 2016. So those are some of my goals. That is my heart pursuit this year. I'm excited to kind of take you on the journey with me and share with you some of the things that I'm learning and walking out this year. Some are really practical things and some are more heart things. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the promise of this year. And yeah, I'm excited. So anyways, that's my dreams. That's my dreams. That's my goals. That's my vision and my heart and my one little word for 2016. Do you have a one little word? Do you have a focus or a goal this year that you are pursuing? Let me know about it. I'd love to hear. And if you feel like subscribing, if you're new here, hit that button. I would love to have you. I love making new friends. You guys are so awesome. And I'm so blessed by the community of YouTube. I absolutely love it. And I'm thankful to be a part of it. So here's to 2016. We got it.